Hello, right, my name is Tafadzwa, and I'm going to be doing a practical demonstration to perform a local system security scan using a tool called Lynis, which is pre-installed on your Klai Linux. Right, so the aim of this video demonstration is to scan and search the local system for installed software and determine possible security configuration flaws. And the tool that I'm going to be using is Lynis. Right, so this tool comes pre-installed on your Klai Linux, but it can be downloaded separately. So I'm now moving to the methodology of how you do a system scan. Right, so you click on applications, and then you go to number 2 where it says vulnerability analysis. Then if you check on the right side, there are tools that are pre-installed that perform vulnerability analysis. So in this case, I'm going to choose Lynis. And then it's going to open a black terminal screen. Right, so the next step is you are supposed to check for the version of Lynis that you're using. Sometimes it might be outdated, so the command that you use to check for the version installed is sudo and then you say Lynis, then you say update, and then you say info and press enter. It will give you the information about the version of Lynis that you are using. So in this case, I'm using version 2.62, and then in terms of status, it's saying it's outdated. So it means I'm supposed to update it, and then for me to update it, I'm supposed to connect it to GitHub. So to update my Lynis, I use the command git, and then I say clone, and then https colony, and then I say github.com / and then I say ciso fy / and then I say Lynis. But you are supposed to make sure that you are connected to the internet. So if I press enter, it's now cloning to Lynis, so it's going to update my Lynis, as you can see there. Right, so it's going to update. So in this case, my Lynis has been updated. So the next thing is I'm supposed to change my directory to Lynis. So I use the command cd, which stands for change directory, Lynis, and then I press enter. Right, as you can see there, the prompt is now showing that I'm now in the directory Lynis. Then I'm supposed to check if my Lynis has been updated. So I use the command / Lynis. Right, and then I say update info. It is going to give me an output there. So let me be patient there. I'm waiting for the output there. Right, so I've updated my version to version 3.02, and it's now saying up to date. So I've updated. Now the next thing is, since I'm going to be using a local system, I want to start maybe let's say I'm going to start 3 services. I want to start MySQL for databases. I want to start the SSH, the secure shell for remote logging in. I also want to start my Apache number 2. So what I'm going to do is to start these services, I'll use the command sudo, and then I say service, and then for Apache I'm going to say Apache 2, and then start. If I press enter, it's going to start this service. Failed to start Apache 2 unit, Apache 2 service not work. So in this case, I don't have Apache 2. Okay, maybe I can start. I can say sudo, right, service, and then my SQL, and then start to start my SQL service. Right, so in this case, my SQL has been started, and then I want to start SSH, so I can press the upward arrow and just replace my SQL with SSH, and then press enter. Right, so in this case, I've got 2 services running, MySQL and SSH2. Unfortunately, the Apache 2 is not installed. Now that I've got my 2 services running, I now want to perform my security audit scan. So in order to scan, I'll use the command sudo, right, dot / Lynis, space audit, and then I will say system. Now in this case I have included the command sudo so that it gives me some root privileges. If I then put the keyword sudo, then it means the scan that is going to be performed will not be having privileges. It will not scan the root. Now if I press enter, it's now initializing the system, right, and then it's now running. So depending on the performance of your system, it might take several minutes. But if your machine has got very good specs in terms of RAM and in terms of CPU, the process does not take a lot of time. So it's now scanning for available tools. Okay, it's giving me some set of warnings there. So we need to be a bit patient as it performs the scanning process. Now with Lynis, it performs quite a number. It tests for software, it tests for databases, it tests the operating system kernel, it tests for user accounts, for user groups, and so on. So it performs quite a number of checks on your system for installed application programs, as well as configurations that are done on your system. You need to be a bit patient there. Still running. Okay, still running, so I need to be a bit patient there. Right, so in this case now saying press enter to continue, so I'm going to press enter on my keyboard. Right, so it's now performing boot and services scan, so it's now checking there, and then in terms it found 23 running services. Right, press enter to continue. I'm going to press enter. It's now checking the kernel, so it found 67 active modules. Press enter to continue. I'm going to press enter on my keyboard. It's now checking memory and processes. Press enter to continue. It's now checking user groups and authentications. I press enter to continue. It's now checking the shell. It's now checking the file systems, the mountings. Enter to continue. It's now checking for USB devices. Unfortunately, there is no USB device connected there. Press enter to continue. It's now checking the storage, NFS, name services, checking ports and packages. Just need to be a bit patient as it performs ports and packages scan. And you need to be a bit patient there. Press enter to continue. It's now checking for networking scan. Press enter to continue. Printers and spools, software and email messaging, software and firewalls, software and web server, SSH support, SNMP support, databases, insecure services. So it's now displaying a list of insecure services, banners and identifications, schedule task, terms of accounting, time and synchronization, cryptography. Right, press enter to continue. Checking for containers, software system tooling, software malware, file permissions, kernel hardening. Okay. Right, so it's still running. It's still checking user groups. Checking SSHL daemon. Right, so when SSH performs these scans, it stores the information in var log, and then there's a file called Lynis-report.dat. That is the file where it logs the query. Like in this case, this is the name of the file. It's called Lynis-report.dat, and then this is where you find the report data. This is where you find the report and data. So I'll wait for it to complete. It's going to give me a report in terms of how many warnings. It also gives me a report of how many. It also gives me suggestions of things that can be done in order to make my system more secure. So I'll wait for the complete report to be displayed there. It's going to display the information shortly. Which in a moment it's going to give me a report. I'm waiting for the report to come. I'll wait for the report. Like in this case, if I want to check for if the report has been created, what I can do is I can minimize there. Right, I can go to files. Just want to check something. So if you open your files, and then right, if you go to files, other locations, right, computer, right, if I go in a directory called var, right, if I open my var, right, if I get inside logs, if I scroll down, I'm supposed to see this these two files, Lynis.log and Lynis-report. If I open this one, right, this is the file which contains all the information about the scan that I have just performed. So I'll wait for it. So it's saying it's ready. Just wait for it to open. So this is like the file that has been created there, which contains all the information about the scan that have just been performed there. That is the information about the scan. And also there's this other one, Lynis.log. If I open it again, I'll see dates and time of the scans that have been performed. Right, I can scroll it down. I can see all this information. So basically this is how you perform. So in this case it has ended successfully. So basically this is how you perform a security auditing scan using Lynis. The good thing about Lynis is that it can be used to check quite a number of flows in terms of application programs. It checks for running services, it checks for ports, it checks for emails. It also checks for configurations which are done. It can also provide some suggestions for the flows that have been identified in order for you to harden and properly secure a system. Right. Thank you very much for following this video